Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am AttiDude back in another video, and in today's video we're gonna be learning about conditions in C#. If you haven't liked, share, subscribe my channel yet, do it now. I'll provide more content like this. So without any further ado, let's get started. One thing that you need to remember is that conditions they take Boolean values. Okay, so you will understand when we see the demo, and you need not to worry if you are changing any sort of language, because conditions are almost same, I believe, in each and every language. In PHP, it is the same. In C#, Java, C++, I believe these are same. Okay, so in our last video, I told you that relational operators give a Boolean value. That means there are Boolean expressions. So in the conditions, we use these Boolean expressions, actually the Boolean values, and then process our data. For example, I'm first gonna delete everything inside of the main function, and basically we're gonna take an input from the player, console.writeLine, and we can tell in enter a number. Okay, and then we can say console.readLine, and this will read the full line, and we can basically store this inside of an int. We can convert that and store it inside of an int. We can call it user input equals to, and we cannot just directly use this because it is string and we need to convert this to int. So we can just write convert.to int. There's just in 32. It's fine. You can use that, and it's better if we use in 64, but it will show an error because it is a long, and the 16 one is int. So don't worry, you need to convert that to 32, and after that we can process that data. That means we can check. So let us write if user input double equals to 1. And in our last video we talked about relational operators, and that return a Boolean value. So it returns a bool. You can see here bool int.operator, this it returns a Boolean value. So this will return a Boolean value. And what these conditions need, there are basically 3 types of conditions. First of all, you need to understand that if, and you can just code and pass in user input double equals to 1, and whatever is inside of these curly brackets or parentheses will be called if user input is 1. That means the number that is input by the user is 1. And there are 3 more kinds of conditions, and 2 are related to if because they are used only if we use if, else they are not used. one such is else if. So let us see, else if user input double equals to 2. Okay, and the other one is else, and else requires no parameters, so we can just basically leave it as it is and write. What this if does is that if this boolean we input, and we know that relational operators, not numbers, they return a boolean value. So the if condition gets that boolean value, so it will process everything inside of these parentheses if only if this condition is true. What else if will do is that if this is wrong, then only it will check about this. If this is wrong, then only it will check. If this is right, it will return from here and not call anything from else if or else. Else if used what else if is used is to check one more time about that variable, and even if that is false, then we can use else. That means all the rest of the conditions. So if the user input is 1, okay, then everything inside of this will happen. If user input is 2, then everything inside of this will happen. And if both of the conditions are false, that means the number is neither 1 nor 2. That is some other number we don't know currently, but we actually know that is stored inside of user input, but we're not checking. We humans don't know what the user have inputted. This variable knows what it is, so we can fetch the data from here. But if we use this, then it shows that we are trying to ask it, what is the data? Is the data 2? Is user input 2 or 1, or what it is? And at last, if we write else statement, that states that our whatever the user input we checked above, whatever the comparisons we did here are wrong, and then only else will be called. And we cannot write else if or else just without if statement, because if is the base of these. If we just comment that out using Control Shift and slash button, then slowly you'll see errors. Currently it's not showing. Here it is. If you see invalid expression term else if cannot start a statement, because basically we have removed if, so this will not be called. It will show errors. So for example, if our user input is 1, that means we can write console.writeLine, and we can pass in your number is 1. Okay, or I can write something like this: you have won the game. And we can just go ahead and copy and paste. So I like leaving spaces. And we can write match is draw. add in these, Control V again, and we can write oops, you lost the game. Remove oops, I don't want this. And after that, if we hit play, then it will take some time. It says enter a number. Let us just say 1. Then it says you have won the game. Let us run that again. 2. Match is draw. Let us run that again. Write 5. You lost the game. Or even we can write 0. It says you lost the game. That means any number that is not 1, neither 2, will be counted inside of the else statement. And these 3 are not only the conditions. There is one more type of condition which is mainly used in calculator. Let me show you what it is. First of all, we're gonna comment this out, Control Shift slash, easily comment that, or you can just write in slash star and at the end star and slash again. So that condition is called switch, and we can pass in the key. We need to pass a key, the variable that we need to check conditions of. In our case is the user input. Okay, we pass in the key and open up the brackets, and it says empty switch block because we've not written anything, so we need to write cases. Switch statement is basically based on cases. That means that we can write case, and according to user input we can write 1. If case is 1, then what we are gonna do, we're just gonna copy this, paste this, and you see that error because we need to write break at the end of each and every case block. Because if we don't write break, it will show an error. And also, if it doesn't show an error after the case 1 is completed, it will go back to case 2 and perform that calculation or whatever you've written that inside. And one thing also, you need not to write any kind of parentheses or curly brackets here. It's independent, not dependent on the curly brackets. I'm just gonna delete, just basically copy this, paste, and add in a break statement, and we can just go ahead and write case 3 or case 3. That means if our number is 3, its value is 3, then we're gonna do this. Okay, and we're gonna write break so that get out of there. So what it will do after we pass in the key, it will check for its value. If the value of user input is 1, then it will execute everything inside of this case block. If the case is 2, that means the value of user input is 2, then it will execute everything inside of the case 2 block and moreover. But in this case, in if and else if statements, we wrote else. That means we currently don't know the value. We just know that we just currently know that the value is not 1 and not 2. Then how do we predict here? So don't worry. We also have a feature called default. That means if none of the above cases are true, that means none of the above cases are executed, they are not running because the value is not correct, then this block will run. Okay, save again and hit play. Enter number 1, you won the game. Again, 2, match is draw. Again, 3, you lost the game. And basically, if you enter any number that is neither 1, neither 2, then it will call this default block. Hence, whiches are mainly used in calculators to predict the operation. For example, if we input in a string here, let us just say char, convert to char, user input. If the user input is, you can already see that it shows an error because it says we cannot convert into char. So we need to write this. First of all, divide according to pod mass. We are following that. This. And then we're gonna delete this, and we can write addition, no, division, multi-application. Then we write in another case, Control C, Control V, and add in plus. Go ahead and write addition. Again, we're gonna paste that. Instead, write minus, and we can write subtraction. And again, I'm gonna paste that percentage sign and write modulus. If you remembered modulus, write down in the comments what is its function inside of the operators. So let us hit play. Okay, we need to change this. Enter operation, save and hit play. It will compile, it will take some time, and it says enter operation. You can write plus, it says addition, close this, play that again. If we write multiplication, it says multiplication. We go ahead and do the slash, it says division. Let us do minus. Oh, what happened? Nothing happened because basically we're not used to the default case, and we can just go ahead and play that again. Minus, subtraction. Then we have the percentage sign, modulus, and we can see that basically our program runs pretty smoothly. And with the help of these statements and conditions, we can basically do anything inside of the code. For example, if you want to check if the player is moving for the cursor to animate the dynamic cursor, then you can go ahead in the if statement and check that if our axis is not equal to 0, or basically you can check that if player is moving, then we can go ahead and animate our dynamic cursor, and if it's not, then we're just gonna reset it to its position, because you also need the dynamic cursor to reset, not just as it is in the stretch form. So basically this is it for today, guys. And if you know what we use the modulus for, I told you in the last video, if you know what modulus is used for inside the code, make sure you write down in the comments. So this is it for today, guys. We'll meet in a later video. And also a very happy news for Minecrafters that I'm making a very realistic texture pack, and it will be available very soon. So it has insane graphics, and I'll make sure that I make a video on that and upload the texture pack. So basically till the next week, the video will completely be formed, and on the next Sunday, I'll upload that video, and also make sure that I'll share a link in the description of that. And if you haven't seen our last videos, you make sure to check that out, because I basically explained operators, identifiers, keywords, variables, and much more things. And make sure to leave their links in the description below. And basically just keep on practicing these, because coding is like, if you don't practice, you'll forget. Keep on practicing and keep on learning new things. Keep watching our videos. If you haven't liked or subscribed to my channel yet, do it now. I'll provide more content like this. I am AttiDude signing out.